Welcome back. As Egypt celebrated yesterday, on the 8th of March, the International Women's Day, the National Council for Women received a bundle of Arab, African, and foreign women at the Cairo International Airport. As member of the Foreign Relations Committee, the General Secretary of the World Forum for Communication and Development, UN Global Combat, Mona Saghir, said the Council, in cooperation with Cairo International Airport, held this reception, adding that the Foreign Committee, in cooperation with the Cairo International Airport Authority, extended their congratulations to each and every lady coming to Egypt, whether it's from the Arab nation or the African continent or from the West, on the occasion of the International Women's Day. And the Council, headed by Councillor Amal Omar, congratulated Ambassador Wafa Basim, member of the Council, for unanimously assuming the post of the Deputy Head of the UN Expert Committee for Human, Civil and Political Rights, which reflected the success of the Egyptian woman and her success in assuming the highest posts before the international institutions. Congratulated Egyptian and world women marking their International Day. And all this, of course, was held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The reception, the photos taken, the live stream, it was a live transmission by Nal TV International. And in fact, the ladies thanked Nal TV International for being that keen to be there and to air the reception. A member of the Foreign Committee, Samira Rashwan, spoke before the United Nations General Secretary during the celebration marking the International Women's Day, which was held in New York, as one of the Egyptian young models, as she delivered the keynote address before the celebration of Forbes Africa and CNBC Africa to honor the African women in all fields while marking the International Women's Day. Also, a member of the National Council for Women, Dr. Amani Asfour, shed light on the strategy of economically empowering women to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in the African continent, the Beijing Women Conference, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The celebration was also attended by 1,000 influential women and leading figures in all fields from all over the African continent. Congratulations, and we promise that Nal TV International is going all the time to follow up all these events and to have our camera there in an occasion like that, just to say thank you for every woman who is really working hard to achieve her goals, to realize her dreams, and to serve our community. Well, right after the short break, I'm going to be back with more. Welcome back. As we promised, we are going to go to Tokyo this time and to know more about King Ramses II. King Ramses II is there in Tokyo, as he is going to receive a number of visitors coming just to have a look or a glimpse at the artifacts related to this period. The ancient Egyptian civilization is going to continue be that amazing for the whole world. And when we speak about only a few or a number of artifacts in an exhibition, we can say that this is going to be such an event, a leap. And to shed more light on the whole issue, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Selima Ikram, Professor of Egyptology. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Selima.
Thank you very much for your kind invitation.
And Dr. Selima, let me go immediately to the event. It's not the first time when we do have exhibitions outside Egypt. I mean, in a Western country with some artifacts. But this time, I think it's a little bit, or to a great extent to be accurate, special. Talking about King Ramses II, in your opinion, why it's special? It's because of the pharaoh, it's because of his position in our history, or it's because only that it's some artifacts or related to our ancient Egyptian civilization?
I think that ancient Egypt has always had a great attraction for everyone all over the world. And of course, Ramses II, apart from Tutankhamun, is one of Egypt's most famous pharaohs. So the idea that there is a blockbuster show of Ramses II, or mainly Ramses II, of course, is going to attract an enormously huge audience. And the artifacts that are being shown are quite splendid and really phenomenal, including the coffin in which Ramses was buried.
Mm-hmm. How it's important just to use such events as a way of marketing for our tourism. It's not only for attracting more visitors or more tourists, but to let them know about ancient Egyptian civilization. And as you've kindly mentioned, when it comes to Ramses II, we are talking about such a military leader, and in the same time, he was the very first one to sign a peace accord, in addition to the wonderful monuments he left. To say a lot about his era. If you want to elaborate on that too.
Well, I mean, the thing is that our objects that go on tour or are in museums abroad are in a way the best ambassadors for Egypt. Mm-hmm. Because when people come to visit these, of course it raises funds for Egypt when they go to these museums. But also what is extraordinary is when people want to visit Egypt, they want to learn about Egypt, and Egypt's place in world history is far better understood and recognized. Mm-hmm. So in a way, all of these artifacts that go, they tell us not only about Ramses, but about life in ancient Egypt, the technology, the advanced science that the ancient Egyptians had, and really is as I said, the best ambassadors, the best PR for Egypt, for people to come and visit here, as well as to know about our history and, as a consequence, world history. So Ramses II, who has lived to a great old age, and in fact is the only pharaoh to have traveled to France after his death, as his mummy.
And he had the passport, and in the passport, deceased king. This was what was written in his passport. As far as I know, would you please correct me if I'm wrong?
Yes, unfortunately we don't have a copy of his passport any longer, but it did say deceased pharaoh as his job description.
Yeah. And when it comes to Japan in specific, Japan is very much well known for its modern technologies, but I think they are going to evaluate, because of this, the masterpieces they are going to see in this exhibition or in this event. Because until the moment, all over the world, when you find those experts when it comes to Egyptology, they feel that much astonished and amazed how for thousands of years ago the Egyptians were able to have these artifacts, despite that now if I want to make something similar, I'm going to use the laser, for example, industry. I'm going to use such advanced technologies. If you want to also elaborate on that.
The Japanese are absolutely known for their technology nowadays, but they have a very long and deep culture, a huge respect for craftsmanship, and indeed that is why they have been so instrumental in the Grand Egyptian Museum and in the technologies for conservation there. Mm-hmm. I think that also their studies and our studies together have been important to highlight the kind of technologies that the ancient Egyptians had at their command, and even with very simple tools, often with stone or just copper bronze alloys, mm-hmm. people still find it extraordinary that the ancient Egyptians managed to carve minute, detailed objects, carry out, building technology of extraordinary types. Think of Ramses II's temple at Abu Simbel. Yeah. Made really harder stone on softer stone, but the kind of scaffolding, the kind of infrastructure, the kind of organization, and the skill of those craftsmen must have been fantastic.
Mummification in itself, it's their secret until the moment, and I think it's not going to be revealed that easy.
I think it's all the riffs on mummification are indeed quite complicated. And again, the mere thought of coming up with this idea of preservation, embalming, and such a complicated religious theology. So people keep forgetting that the Egyptians were they had a very complicated belief system. They had the idea of the afterlife. Many of the ideas that the Egyptians espoused are the ones that now have come down to us in the Abrahamic religions. So you can really say that the ancient Egyptians, in a way, were the precursors of the major monotheistic religions of today.
Only a few days ago, when we all not celebrated, witnessed the sun lightening the face of Ramses 22nd of February, and it's repeated on the 22nd of October every year, and until the moment, I think nobody can imagine that the calculations of the ancient Egyptians thousands of years ago succeeded in doing something like this.
They were extraordinary astronomers, extraordinary observers of nature, and using very simple tools, they could predict all kinds of things in terms of heavenly body movement, and had a really detailed knowledge. Don't forget that in the Ptolemaic period, in fact, people at that time knew that this earth was round. So through Egyptian knowledge, there was a lot that people knew which was subsequently forgotten.
One final question, Dr. Selima. There are voices who are saying that when our artifacts go outside in such exhibitions, this is not saying that we know the value of them. Why not everyone comes here to see them? They do not know to what extent all the Western countries, how the Western countries, how any country on the whole world is receiving our artifacts, and what kind of respect they show to every single piece. And as you've kindly mentioned, every single artifact can be an ambassador of our civilization, and this is the best way to attract millions from all over the world to come and to see what's here, because what they have seen there is such a very tiny part of what we have.
Absolutely. What we send out is a taster, and then people want more, and then they come. And really, I think I actually teach in Egypt, and I very much wish more of my students valued their own heritage and would go and visit the museums and the sites and learn why people come from hundreds and thousands of miles away to visit Egypt.
And I think it's going to be another story when we officially inaugurate the gym. True?
Absolutely. I mean, already the buzz is huge. People are trying to come. People are making bookings. And it is a very big hive of activity. So once the gem is completely open, I think, again, people will come in droves to Egypt.
Dr. Selima, thank you very much for your input. You are such an added value to our program. Thank you. Well, by this we come to the end of our episode. Stay tuned on Nile TV International always for more. Many thanks for watching. This was Nurmeen Abdurrahman.